Welcome back to our Midday Bible Study, From Eden to Eternity. Today this is session 10, which is Job 24 through 28. Today, Job wraps up his response to Eliphaz's third speech. He continues to point out that good things happen to the wicked and adds that bad things happen to the righteous. Job's reply may sound like a complaint, but he seems to be consoling himself with these details, reminding himself that his trials don't negate his status as a righteous man before God, while trying to convince his friends as well. Job points out some really important things here. If we follow his friends' beliefs to their logical conclusions, we would be likely to think that all those who are healthy and wealthy are living righteous lives, and that the poor, sick, and needy are suffering because of their sin. There is no shortage of people who subscribe to this belief today. One of the dangers of this belief is that anytime there is a disaster, a fire or a flood or a terrorist attack, some very public people say it's God's judgment, as if they know the mind of God. They are guilty of the same reductionism as Job's friends. In Job's story, we are given a glimpse into God's motives since they are recorded in Scripture. But in everyday 21st century life, we don't have access to that information. We will be wise not to jump to conclusions about why hurricanes and mass murders happen where they do, because God's motives are not always clearly revealed to us. Bildad pushes back, saying not only is Job unrighteous, but that it is impossible for a man to be righteous at all. While there is some truth in this, that we cannot be perfect, we can be declared righteous by God despite our actions because of the finished work of Christ. In Scripture, righteousness is often used as a kind of legal term. It is more of a decision and a declaration by the judge that the accumulated overview of our actions. For every one of us who is adopted into God's family, God the judge has declared every one of us who is adopted into his family righteous. Not because we tricked him, and not because we get more things right than we get wrong, but because God, the Son, Jesus, granted us his righteousness. It's a legal transaction. He traded our sinfulness, which we were in full possession of, for his righteousness. He took our death penalty and granted us his kingdom. If you want to talk about what's not fair, that is the best place to start. It is unfair in the most beautiful way imaginable. Job has a reverence for God's mystery that his friends can't seem to grasp. He says heaven trembles at God's rebuke. This is reminiscent of Genesis 6 and the sons of God rebelling against him. And again, Job prophesies about Jesus without even knowing it. He says, by his power, he stilled the sea. We know that Jesus did that in Mark 4:35 through 41. Job continues to maintain his integrity and even tells them that despite all their rebukes, he feels no conviction. 27:6 says, my heart does not reproach me for any of my days. His conscience is clean before God and man. He is certain that this trial is not punishment from God. Job knows how to live in the tension. He can be angry and sad, yet not mistrust God's heart when things are falling apart. Despite everything, Job points to God as the source of all wisdom. Job 28:28 says, "Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn away from evil is understanding." Many of Job's words and thoughts are echoed later by Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived. Job had a lot of wisdom too. He fears God and turns away from evil. We already know Job is wise, and he is demonstrating it here through his knowledge of God. Here's the God snapshot for the day. Job points to God as the source of all wisdom. By fixing our eyes on him, looking for him, and reading his word daily, we are tapping into that source. So even as you may be realizing how little you know of God so far, it takes wisdom to even realize that. By putting your eyes on his word every day, you are growing in wisdom daily. God is fulfilling his promise to you that those who seek him with all their heart will find him. So that's all I have for today. We've gone over Job 24-28. In your spare time, look at it, read it, meditate on it. Until next time, be blessed.